Welcome to the mix. I'm ABD. Today we have an affordable single cut style guitar from Harley Benton, a brand that probably a lot of people are familiar with. They make really good, really cheap, high quality guitars made in China, thanks to Thomann, a German company, a online retailer for musical instruments. Because of their size, they're a huge retailer serving a lot of Europe and the US. They are able to manufacture these guitars at a large scale for affordable prices, and the design is great. A lot of the guitars they make are based off of a lot of very popular guitars. In this case, it's a TV Yellow Les Paul Special with P90s. I modified this one so it's not exactly what you would see if you went on the website. It usually has a black pickguard and black top hat knobs, but I changed the knobs to gold knobs and I took off the pickguard because I think it looks pretty freaking cool like that. And obviously it looks a little different than the guitar that's trying to copy, the Gibson. The horn on their single cut, their SC style guitars, has more of a sharper point. The bout up here, or the shoulder, whatever you call that, kind of swoops down more. On a Gibson or Les Paul, it would be straighter like that. And one of the biggest things is the neck joint is actually a more modern neck joint than you would see on a Gibson or an Epiphone. They do have the modern Les Pauls where it's a little more of a easier, more accessible neck joint, but it's still kind of crappy in my opinion. A lot of modern manufacturers will do really sculpted neck joints where there's heel joints where there's really almost nothing there, or there's neck through construction where the neck goes through the entire body. In many of those cases there's absolutely no bump here, it's just nice and smooth. But this is not a bad solution. That's kind of vintage meets modern, and it's a thin guitar. It's I think a two-piece body, but the matching of the grain, the book matching, if you will, I think looks really good. It almost looks like one piece of wood until you look really closely at it. And it also has a single piece bridge, which is a little more high tech than what you would see again on a Gibson. It has these two screws here, which allows you to move the bridge back and forth to help the intonation, and then individual saddles for each string. It's a wraparound single piece. And Gibson, usually they don't have individual saddles, and usually they don't have this adjustment right there, but in this case it does. And then a black poker chip here. The switch is on kind of a weird angle. We can use that to talk about some of the quality control. Really, the quality control on this is great. Sometimes you might get a Harley Benton that might have something off about it, from the setup to maybe there might be damage because it's shipping all the way from Germany. One of the downsides to getting a Harley Benton is they're incredibly affordable, but shipping to the US is expensive. It's about, I think, usually $70 US to ship. And that's why that's for one guitar, but if you get two, it's usually the same price. So that's why a lot of people will get two. They're so affordable. You can get two guitars, or you and a buddy each get one and you split the shipping. And in this case, this guitar is $200 USD before VAT tax, but it has Roswell P90 pickups. Like a lot of their affordable SC series guitars, there's a deal between Roswell and Thomann, and they have a ton of their pickups in their guitars. They also have a deal with Tesla. It's another pickup manufacturer, and they have some of theirs, and some more of their higher end guitars. But the fretboard is Purple Heart, and some more specs for the guitar. It's a fully mahogany body and neck. In some of their other single cuts, they use Akuma, which is another type of mahogany in the neck. It's like African mahogany in this case. It's a full mahogany body and neck. I don't know if any of it is African or if maybe it is all African. They're just calling it mahogany, but there really is not that much of a difference. But it has really beautiful grain. The TV Yellow finish is translucent, so it's not that thick, and you can see some of the grain on the neck and on the body, and it looks really great. If you get a TV Yellow Les Paul Special from Epiphone, their finish is not translucent, and so I think this It looks way better. TV yellow is really meant to be see-through. You're really meant to see the grain of the wood through it. If not, it kind of just looks like a yellow guitar, a mustard guitar. If you don't know where the TV yellow started or why it's called TV yellow, is because back in the day, Les Pauls were played on TV, and TV was black and white, and the white guitars they had didn't appear right. They looked kind of off to producers and guitar makers. And so what they did is they realized that if you make a yellow paint appear through black and white television, it looks more like the color that they wanted it to appear. And so that's what they did, and that's why they called it TV yellow. It has a Harley Benton single cut shaped headstock, which is flatter than Gibson and not as wide. It does have a volute on the back. The neck angle, the break angle for the headstock is not as sharp or dramatic as the Gibson. Some people will find that to be a positive. I think I do. It does have the volute on the back. It has Wilkinson tuners, which you would think would be nice. Wilkinson makes good stuff, and these are vintage white button style tuners. They feel solid enough, but this guitar does have trouble staying in tune, and I'm not quite sure why that is. I'm guessing it might be the tuners. You could replace those, but I have not done that. The truss rod cover is this kind of triangle, rounded triangle type shape, and the nut is a graphite nut of some sort. But one of the issues that I had with this guitar is the nut, or you'll have with a lot of these cheaper guitars, the nut might not be cut that well. And in this case, that was one of the things that I did, is I filed that nut a little more on the G string. It's always the G string that goes out of tune for whatever reason. It has aluminum frets. It's a 12-inch radius. And I polished the frets a little bit, and I cleaned the fretboard. One of the things that you'll run into with these affordable Harley Benton guitars is you'll get schmutz on your fingertips when you're playing, and you'll kind of wonder where it's coming from. And I think it's two things. One is the frets are dirty. They don't completely polish them, so there's some sort of like metal buildup on them. And then this Purple Heart fretboard, a lot of the ones they're using, they're dyeing black or like a darker color, and some of that kind of doesn't settle into the wood and sits on top of it, and you pick it up on your fingers, and then I think it's just kind of dirty as well from the factory. So I was cleaning it with conditioner, and I just kept wiping up more and more kind of blackish soot kind of stuff, and I think I got it mostly off, and the fretboard's nice and shiny, and it feels really good. The fret ends are really nice for a guitar at this price. There's no sharp edges or ugliness. As far as tooling marks, I think you can see a fair bit of tooling marks here on this kind of wood binding sort of thing. It's not an actual binding, it's just the wood from the fretboard goes all the way to the edges, and you can see some tooling marks, but it's been covered, it's been finished over. The neck is really clean. There's no kind of marks or dings under the finish. I have another Harley Benton where there's a kind of a mark under the finish. This doesn't have that. It's nice and clean all over. Again, the wood, the two pieces of wood look great together. And it has these nice mushroom type strap locks on it that hold the strap nice and tight. The pots feel good. They're full-size pots. They don't feel loose or too tight when turning them. They work well. And I think that's enough talking. We can plug it into a tube amp, a Friedman Runt 20. We have some pedals on the floor, into a vintage 30 speaker. Then we'll plug it in DI and see how that sounds. So let's do that. So I did just tune it up, but it may fall out of tune pretty quickly. So that's very dry, and we have no pedals on or anything like that. We are on the clean channel on the amp. There's a lot of definition on the bridge. It's pretty trebly, but the dynamics are great. There's a lot of punch, a lot of bass still. Amaranth or Purple Heart fretboard feels kind of like ebony. It's pretty hard. It's not that soft. If you like ebony or like hard maple, you'll be right at home. It's not that far from rosewood, but it doesn't feel like rosewood, and it doesn't look like rosewood. Let's go to the neck. So right away you can hear there's a huge difference between the neck and the bridge. The bridge is a lot trebly-er and brighter, maybe a little thinner, and the neck is way deeper and bassier and richer. So I'm going to tune it up again, and we could try some pedals. Wanted to come out of tune? If we turn on a compressor, it sounds like this. And try some delay. We can turn off that compressor and we can turn on some chorus on the clean. Alright, we tried that with a fuzz. Gonna get noisy. We can try that with a tube screamer on the neck. Bridge. And for some more gain, we could try a rat type distortion. So it's not really a guitar that you would use for high gain stuff, but we're going to do an ultra metal distortion from Behringer pedal. And another pedal we can try is the Micro Qtron pedal. It's an envelope filter. And try the neck. Awesome. So that is some tones you can expect to get from a tube amp. Now we can plug it in DI and see how it sounds through a plugin. So we are plugged into Neural DSP Nolly on the default setting, and so we have some noise because we have P90s, but here's how it sounds. Nice and thick on the neck. So it has great sustain from the mahogany body, and that is on the neck. So we'll go back to the bridge. And now we can try some different settings. We'll go to clean chords through a plugin. What does that sound like? And we'll play some chords. We are out of tune again because these tuners are not very good. They're not very good. I know I was doing some bending, but I don't know why it would be that out of tune. It's that G. Neck. So what I'm realizing here is that even though the bridge pickup is higher than the neck, it might need to be raised even higher, or I might just not like that bridge pickup in conjunction with this neck pickup. The neck pickup is a lot louder. And in there, there's just foam underneath. There's just these two screws, and so these pickups are kind of wobbly, and you can't really put them exactly where you want them to be, and the foam will probably wear out over time. And that's just kind of how P90s are installed in guitars, and I'm not a huge fan of that. For a little bit of comparison, I have here a Gibson with Gibson P90s in it. And let's see how this sounds in comparison to that. It's a mahogany body as well. This has a rosewood fretboard. And let's see what that sounds like. All the same settings in the neck. Bridge. So these pickups, they get a lot dirtier, a lot quicker. There may be a little higher output. I could probably maybe bring up the treble side a little more, but you can tell they sound pretty different, but they're pretty similar guitars. And it also shows you that these Roswell pickups are actually really good. They sound really nice. There's a ton of definition and a ton of punch. These are actually really great sounding P90s. And P90s are just also great pickups in general. So that was a walkthrough and a demo of the SC Special in TV Yellow from Harley Benton and the fine folks at Thomann. I really like this guitar a lot. The weight is 7.2 pounds, so it's a good weight. The bridge is nice and straight. It was set up really well when I got it. I did set it up a little differently myself. It does have pretty standard action, about 2mm height action. I did sand that nut. The nut does look really good as far as the craftsmanship, the way that it was seated, the finish, and all of that looks great. Really, the only downside is these tuners are not great if you're bending, playing for a while. It's probably going to go out of tune. But if this isn't exactly your bag, there's a ton of great stuff that Thomann has to offer with Harley Benton, and a lot of their guitars are like $150, $200 for this quality, and then plus that $70 shipping. So maybe get a couple $150 guitars plus that shipping, sell one of them, give one to a friend, whatever you might want to do. But I think they make really great stuff, and I'm really happy with this, and I definitely know that I'll be buying more Harley Bentons in the future and be watching to see what new stuff they release. They just released new colors of their Jazzmaster. They have a Jazzmaster with a hard tail type guitar, and they just released new colors. But They also have a gold top version of this, which is a little more standard, like a standard Les Paul, but it does have a basswood body. And that's one of the reasons I really liked and wanted this, is because it has a mahogany body and a mahogany neck, and it sounds great. It's really nice and rich, and those pickups sound really good. And so thanks for watching. If you liked that, please subscribe and like. There'll be more good stuff in the future, reviews. There's another Harley Benton review coming. And thanks for watching. Take care. Rock on forever.